আছে না? So we can start now. Yeah, hi, I am Nirmalendu Gonai. Good afternoon and welcome to the webinar entitled Why Don't We Think Differently? Elementary Dynamics and Farmer Schemes School, organized by the Department of Physics, Navadip Vidyasagar College. This is the first time in the history of our department that we are organizing the webinar. In this pandemic situation, webinar is quite helpful and popular among people because we are learning and enriching ourselves through it without going outside our home. Without taking too much time, let's start the webinar. So now I want to request our principal sir, Dr. Sapan Kumar Rai, to deliver his inaugural speech. Please sir, continue.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmalendu Gonai. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my privilege Muktish Acharya, who is from the Department of Physics, Presidency University. There are many adjectives actually we can add with Professor Muktish Acharya, who is a renowned professor, Presidency University, from the end of Navadip Vidyasagar College, and from my end, I express my thanks and gratitude to Professor Muktish Acharya, who has given in his consent to deliver his speech on why do not we think differently, elementary dynamics and Fermat's principle. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Okay, thank you.
Secondly, I express my thanks and gratitude to the organizing committee, convener Dr. Prabhas Mondol, other members, Dr. Nirmalendu Gonai, who is actively he has been playing a very active role in for execution of this webinar. Adhyapak Professor Rajkumar Mondol, Dr. Asim Kumar Biswas, Professor Nidarshana Guho, Professor Sudipto Modak, all are welcome because of their presence in this webinar and because of the members of organizing committee. And I also express my thanks to the convener IQS Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee. Actually, this webinar is being held in collaboration with the IQAC, the Department of Physics, and IQAC are jointly arranging this, have actually arranged this webinar. Thirdly, actually the viewers, the participants who have joined this webinar from different parts of our country, I actually express my thanks and gratitude and warm welcome to them because of his participation in this webinar. Thank you all. Thank you, sir, Professor Muktish Acharya.
Thank you.
Thank
it's my
you.
pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmalendu Gonai, Dr. Prabhas Mondol, Professor Rajkumar Mondol, Asim Kumar Biswas, Professor Nidarshana Guho, and Professor Sudipto Modak, and plus Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee. I, and on behalf of our college, Navadip Vidyasagar College, and on behalf of the President, our Honorable President, Governing Body, Biman Krishna Saha, I thank you all. I hope the webinar will be a great, successful one. Thank you. Hand over to Dr. Nirmalendu Gonai.
Sir, now I want to request Dr. Prabhas Mondol, head of the Department of Physics, Navadip Vidyasagar College, and also request him to deliver his keynote speech, and also request him to introduce our speaker, Dr. Muktish Acharya. So, Prabhas, please.
Thank you, Dr. Nirmalendu Gonai. Good afternoon. Welcome to all the participants on this digital platform. Firstly, I express my deep sense of gratitude to our principal, Dr. Sapan Kumar Rai, our distinguished speaker, Professor Mukti Acharya, all the different professors and teachers of different colleges and schools, students, research scholars. The Department of Physics of Navadvip Vidyasagar College has arranged this webinar entitled "Why Don't We Think Differently?" This lecture consists of two things. One is elementary dynamics, the other part is Fermat's principle. These two basic things will be presented by the eminent Professor Mukti Acharya. The subject matter of this digital seminar has been chosen primarily keeping in view of the needs of the undergraduate students. However, teachers will also be enriched because those basic things will be presented by the speaker from a different point of view, usually not found in textbooks. Direct teaching learning procedure has come to a standstill over the last few months due to the outbreak of the pandemic COVID-19 all over the world. As a result, virtual teaching learning method has become an alternative way out in this crisis period. With this objective in view, we have arranged this digital seminar for the interest of the students so that they can grasp those things from a different outlook staying at home. Let me now introduce the eminent speaker, Professor Mukti Acharya. He is currently Professor and Head of the Department of Physics, Presidency University, Kolkata. He obtained his PhD degree from Shah Institute of Nuclear Physics in 1996. Then he had carried out postdoctoral research in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. After then, he had held positions as postdoctoral fellow in two universities of Germany. One is University of Cologne, another is Duisburg University. After completion of the postdoctoral fellowship, he held teaching position in Krishnanagar Government College from 1990 to 2006. He then shifted to Presidency College in 2006 as a teaching faculty. Since then, he is associated with Presidency College, now known as Presidency University. Let me now mention his academic membership. He is the joint editor-in-chief of the prestigious international journal, namely Journal of Physics through Computation. It is published from Canada. He is the reviewer editor of Frontier in Physics and member of the editorial board of the Helion. These are two international research journals. Apart from this, he is a reviewer of 12 international journals, including Physics Letters, Physica A and B, Chemical Physics Letters, Journal of Magnetism and Active Materials, etc. We are really fortunate in having such a distinguished professor on this digital platform. Hope all of you will enjoy the webinar. Thanks to all of you. This completes my keynote address.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pravazda, for your speech. Now it is time to request our honorable speaker, Professor Mukti Acharya, to start today's lecture. Sir, now you are in the spotlight. Please start.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody.
Let me start by thanking the organizers for their sincere effort to organize such a nice academic meeting on the digital platform in the present pandemic situation, and for inviting me to share my views with the students and the members of the extended science community. The title of the talk is "Why Don't We Think Differently?" and of course it has a subtitle which is Elementary Dynamics and Fermat Principle. In physics or in any other branches of science, we generally grow with conventional notions of the textbook. In this talk, I will try to give an idea about what could be done if we think differently. I mean, if we go beyond our conventional notions of deductions, theorems, hypotheses, principles, experimental measurements, etc. Here I will discuss mainly the concept of elementary dynamics, its manifestation in other branches of science, and the Fermat's principles, mainly studied in ray optics, which will be realized in different framework as a consequence of elementary dynamics. I have been requested by the organizers to choose such a topic which will be enjoyable to the undergraduate students. That's why the matter of the talk is so elementary. This talk may be boring to the experienced persons. But anyway, I have to talk. So now let me start with the discussions with classic and fundamental dynamics, that is called Newton's equations. And we start to study physics with elementary question. This question is, what will be the position x of a particle after time t if the initial conditions are given? So actually, the basic approach of the theoretical physicist is such that if we are asked to calculate any quantity, calculate, not the measurement, calculate any quantity, we always seek for a differential equation. We always look for a differential equation which involves that quantity. For example, if you are asked to calculate the light intensity at any particular point, so immediately you think to calculate the electric or magnetic field, since light is an electromagnetic wave, at that particular point, and you try to look for a differential equation involving that quantity. That is the basic approach of theoretical physicist. And this differential equation is nothing but the Maxwell's wave equations. For example, if you are looking for the position of a particle at any particular time after time t, if the initial conditions are given, you will look for a differential equation involving that quantity, and that differential equation will involve the derivatives of x, and by nature that derivative will be related to some natural quantity. And now recall the Newton's equation. So this is d2x dt square equal to f. That is our well-known equation, and I hope we start with this equation to study physics from our school life. And if this force is a constant, this acceleration f is a constant, then this answer is very simple. You just straightforward integrate and put the boundary condition and get the result. And the result is xt equal to ut plus half ft square if the boundary condition is such that at t equal to 0, at an initial time, the position is 0. You set the position is 0 and the initial velocity is u. This is initial velocity u. So this formula is well-known formula, and we learn this formula in our schools. And just keep in mind that this formula is only for constant acceleration. So constant means the acceleration is space and time independent. So now the question is, what should we do for time dependent acceleration, ft? If this acceleration depends on time, in that case the equation is this d2x dt square equal to ft, and this acceleration is time dependent, and you just try to integrate this equation from your preoccupied notion of the standard textbook. But the thing is, this ft may not be integrable always. In that case, what will you do? And now I will give you an idea of alternative method. The method is this. position x is a smooth function of time t, and it is obviously the indeed position is smooth function of time, and assume that all higher means greater than 3 order derivatives of x exists. In that case, the Taylor expansion of xt around t equal to 0 gives this equation 4, that xt equal to x at t equal to 0, t dx dt evaluated at t equal to 0 plus t square by factorial 2, the second derivative of x evaluated at t equal to 0, t cubed by factorial 3, the third derivative evaluated at t equal to 0, and so on.
স্ক্রিনে টাচ করুন।
And now from the differential equation, from the form of the differential equation, you can immediately identify that dx dt is nothing but dx dt at t equal to 0 is nothing but the initial velocity of the particle, and d2x dt square at t equal to 0 is nothing but the initial acceleration of the particle if the acceleration is a function of time, and third derivative is nothing but the first derivative of the time dependent acceleration. So you can write the series, the Taylor series, in the present form, the equation number 5. And now for constant acceleration, what will happen? All the higher order derivatives will be 0. So the first derivative of the acceleration will be 0, second derivative of the acceleration will be 0, and all higher order derivatives will be 0. And immediately you would restore our well-known formula is x equal to ut plus half ft square. But this formula can be obtained from a different method that is called Taylor series method, Taylor's expansion method, without knowing any integration. And in our experience of theoretical physics or mathematics, we know that to get the exact form of the integrals of any function is quite difficult. But the derivative of that function can be evaluated at any given time. Here we use the initial time. So look, that integration of f is quite difficult. It may be difficult since f cannot be an integrable function always, but you can easily calculate the derivative of this force. So this method is an alternative method and can give you an idea of solving this equation without any integration. And now you may ask the question that what are the cases, in which cases we will get this time dependent acceleration. The time dependent acceleration is not an utopian idea. The interested person may try to use this Taylor series method to study the dynamics governed by the time dependent force. We know from the classical electrodynamics, classical, not the quantum electrodynamics, classical electrodynamics, we know that an accelerating charged particle radiates. It will radiate, but it is the classical idea, not the quantum idea. For example, in the idea of stability of atom, the electrons orbiting in the stable orbit will not radiate. That is the Bohr's hypothesis. But from classical electrodynamics, we know that the accelerating charged particle will radiate. And this radiation will exert a reaction, and that is called radiation reaction. And that radiation reaction will redefine the equation of motion of the charged particle, and that is called Abraham-Lorentz equation. I think it is well-known equation, and everybody knows it. This Abraham-Lorentz equation is the equation number 7, which states that acceleration, time-dependent acceleration, will be equal to tau, a constant, radiation constant, the first derivative of the acceleration dA dt plus f over f, and f is the externally applied force. If you apply the external force, this equation looks like this. But if you do not apply this force, the equation is very simple. It is A equal to tau dA dt. Now look, if this particle is not a charged particle, and it will not radiate. So the first term, the derivative of the acceleration will be absent, and you get back the original Newton's equation, at equal to f by m. At is just the second derivative of the position. And this gives rise to an interesting phenomenon, which is called classical tunneling. Let me give you a brief introduction about this classical tunneling. So, we have a notion, that tunneling is a quantum. So, this gives rise to an interesting phenomenon which is called classical tunneling. So, we know that from our elementary knowledge that tunneling is a quantum phenomenon, and without tunneling, the alpha particle should not come out from the nucleus, and we know that is actually the Gamow theory is this. But very recently, a particle physicist, his name is Denef, studied the classical tunneling. And the results is published in Physical Review E in 1997. That is not very old. And Denef showed that if you use the Abraham-Lorentz equation, that means a charged particle is accelerating, and in front of that charged particle, you put a potential barrier. So according to the classical dynamics, and Abraham-Lorentz equation is of course a classical equation because this is not a quantum equation. So that particle should not penetrate the potential barrier unless the kinetic energy of the particle is higher than that of the potential barrier height. So according to the classical concept, the particle should not penetrate the potential barrier. But Denef showed in his calculation, if you use the Abraham-Lorentz equation, so you will have a finite probability of getting the particle. Even the kinetic energy of the particle is less than the barrier height. And this is the theoretical discovery of classical tunneling, which was discovered in 1997. And no theory is complete without experimental verification, I believe so. So now, very recently, in 2006, G. Morphy, they studied experimentally the classical tunneling in the confined class, and they observed some anomalous transport of charged particles in the classically forbidden region. The charged particle having kinetic energy is less than the barrier height, but in the opposite side, they observe the anomalous transport of the charged particle. And this is a beautiful thing supporting this classical tunneling. And nowadays, people are saying that the Hawking radiation involves the classical tunneling. So from this we see that the time-dependent acceleration is not an utopian idea, and this is happening in the real life situation, in the physics also. And later, Paul Dirac, our great Dirac, he studied the time-dependent force to solve the Abraham-Lorentz equation in various cases with time-dependent Dirac delta type potential barrier, etc., etc., and solved this Abraham-Lorentz equation and got very beautiful result. And if you try to study all these facts, so this equation is not solvable very easily, will not be solvable very easily. In that case, you have to employ the approximation method, which is the Taylor series method, just previously discussed in previous slide. And now let me show more convincing example where the straightforward integration of dynamical equation is not the better route to get the solution. So what is that? Now consider a general dynamical equation. So this equation is dx dt equal to sin x, and this is a nonlinear equation since in the right hand side you have the nonlinear term of x, dx dt equal to sine x. And by direct integration, it is very simple to integrate. You can easily integrate this and your result will be the time equal to minus logarithm of modulus of cosec x plus cot x plus c. And since it is logarithmic, you have to consider this modulus, otherwise the argument will be negative, and logarithm of negative value is not defined. So this equation, the solution equation number 10 gives you the time equal to log of modulus of cosec x plus cot x plus c. And as a standard trick, c will be determined from the initial condition at t equal to 0. The position, consider that at t equal to 0, the position is x equal to x0, and c can be immediately determined. C will be ln modulus of cosec x0 plus cot x. The complete solution is given in equation number 11. T equal to logarithm of cosec x0 plus cot x0 divided by cosec x plus cot x. And look, the result is exact and nice result, exactly integrable, fine, very easy to integrate, but difficult to apply. And if I ask you, could you answer the following questions? What are the questions? Questions are, suppose x0, question number 1, suppose x0 equal to pi by 4, that means your initial position is pi by 4. So if I ask you, describe the qualitative features of the solution xt for all time greater than 0, all positive time of course in reality. In particular, what happens as t tends to infinity? So what will be the long time behavior of the party? And second question is most general question for an arbitrary initial condition x0. So what is the behavior of xt as t tends to infinity? Hello? Hello? So now please try with this logarithmic solution and try to get the answer with this logarithmic solution. So will you try for a moment? Anyway, but it will be very difficult. If you try from the integral relation, if you try from the exact relation, it will be very difficult to get the answer. And in that case, we will employ some alternative method, which is called graphical method. And this differential equation can be interpreted as a vector field. So interpretation of differential equation as a vector field can be stated as follows. And now look the diagram. Look at the diagram. It is my handwritten diagram, and it is not so good since I am not Picasso. Anyway, so in y-axis you plot the velocity, and in x-axis you plot x, the position. Since the differential equation was dx dt equal to sine x, it is very simple to get this graphical plot. And look that this sine curve, just imagine this is sine curve. My handwritten curve is not so good. This sine curve gives you the maximum velocity, point of maximum velocity shown here. And in that case, in that region between C and D, the velocity is positive. So the particle will move towards right. And in the region D and E, in the region confined by D and E, the velocity is negative, and the particle will move towards left. Minimum velocity means the magnitude of the velocity is large, very large, actually the maximum velocity, but the direction is opposite. That's why I have written the minimum. And there are some points A, B, C, D, E. These are the points of zero velocity. And these points have special names. They are called fixed point of the differential equation. And fixed point is defined as dx dt equal to 0 for the first order system. And we have two different types of fixed point. The fixed points represented by the bullet or the field circle, black circle, these are called stable fixed points, and the open circle, they are called unstable fixed point. So what do you mean by stable and unstable? Stable fixed point means, and look the flow diagram, the vector field diagram. So the fixed point D is a stable fixed point, and in the left hand side of D, the flow is towards right, and in the right hand side of D, the flow is towards left. So you can now imagine the fluid is moving along the line, and D is the sink, and the unstable fixed point C or D, the directions of the flow is opposite, and C is something like source. Imagine that fluid is moving along the x-axis, and you have alternative source and sink, source and sink, source and sinks. Sinks are stable fixed point and source are unstable fixed point. And it is very simple to get the idea of stability of the fixed point. It's very simple-minded calculation. When the slope of the function is negative at the fixed point, that fixed point is stable fixed point, and if the slope is positive at the fixed point, that fixed point is the unstable fixed point. So that's why the C is the unstable fixed point and D is the stable fixed point. Okay, so now what will happen? So if you put the particle at pi by 4, that was our question. So this C is 0 and D is pi. So if you put your particle initially at x equal to pi by 4, the particle will move towards right and it will achieve the stability, and it will reach the point D where the velocity is 0, that is a fixed point, and it will remain there forever. It will never move. There forever. It will never move. And now you may ask, velocity 0 is a stable fixed point and the particle will not move at all, but you can ask a counter example in harmonic oscillator. So at the end point, the velocity is 0, but still the harmonic oscillator is moving. The reason is very simple. The equation of harmonic oscillator is a second order equation, and that equation gives an acceleration. Second order derivative of position will give you acceleration. And in system will not give you the first order. System will not give you the first order. Will not give you the oscillatory solution. And now you will get the answer. So now see the figure. Here the position of the particles is plotted against y-axis, plotted in y-axis, and the time is plotted in the x-axis. So particle starts at position pi by 4, and since the velocity is positive, so the particle will move towards right, so the position will increase, and ultimately it will reach pi, and once it reach pi, it will stay there forever. So the position is not changing. So this is the simple solution obtained from the graphical alternative method, where the direct integration or the exact solution may not give you this answer very quickly. And the second diagram is the answer of the second question. So if you choose your initial position at any point between 0 and pi, since pi is the stable fixed point, the particle will move towards it and will reach eventually that value. And if the particle starts from a position which is nearly equal to 2 pi, it will come down, it will go towards left. Just recall the oscillatory picture, this picture. So particle starts from here near E So it will go to left, towards left, and it will reach the fixed point D. So ultimately, so between 0 to 2 pi, since pi is a stable fixed point, anywhere if you put the particle initially, it will reach the position x and will remain there forever. And the solution is non-oscillatory, of course, and first order equation of motion on a line can never give you the oscillatory solution, and I have already explained this with the example of simple harmonic oscillator. Now let us consider another example. Example of bit in simple harmonic motion. So we learned bit in simple harmonic motion in our higher secondary course, physics course. This tells the time interval between two successive maxima of the resultant vibration of two simple harmonic motions is the inverse of the difference of the frequencies. So if you are asked to calculate the time interval between two bits, so that is equal to 2 pi by the frequency difference of the two tuning forks. And it is explained in very good ways in these books, waves by Crawford, Berkeley Physics course. Now, how do you get these results? So, you just follow the straightforward method. Consider two simple harmonic motions, x1 equal to a sine omega 1t and x2 equal to b sine omega 2t. This omega 1 and omega 2t are omega 2 are the angular frequencies of the simple harmonic motions, and they differ by omega. Their difference is omega. So the resultant vibration is x equal to this, and this is simple trigonometric calculation, and you can recast the resultant vibration in a resultant vibration of a simple harmonic motion where the amplitude is time dependent and the additional phase is also time dependent. And the time dependent amplitude is given as RT equal to this. Actually, this square root is missing. It will be R square. This is a printing mistake. And the time dependent phase delta T is tan inverse of this quantity. And to have the maximum of this time dependent amplitude of the resultant vibration, we have to choose this. Omega t equal to 12 pi. Okay. So this maximum value of R will be observed. So the time interval t equal to 2 pi omega is very special. And the resultant intensity rises as R equal to A plus B, that is the maximum value of R, where you will get the intense sound, and the minimum value of R is A minus B, where you will get the diminished sound, and at a regular interval of time, and this is called bits. And look at the formula of RT. Here it will be R square, not R. So R will be maximum if this omega t equal to integer multiple of 2 pi. N is the integer 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And this will maximize the resultant amplitude A plus. And this maxima occurs at different times differed by 2 pi by omega. So now this time interval is 2 pi by omega, and omega is the difference in frequency, and this is the time interval between two bits. Now the question is, can we think this in a different way without doing any calculation, without doing any such calculation? Yes, it is possible. So this is the dynamics of phase of the simple harmonic motion. Here, just consider two persons are moving, rotating on a circular path. One angle is θ1 and another angle is θ2, and they have different angular speed. So how do you write the differential equation? One is d theta 1 dt equal to omega 1, and other one is d theta 2 dt equal to omega 2, which is omega 1 plus omega 2. And now this is equation number 12 and 13. And now let theta 2 minus theta 1, the phase difference, equal to theta. So this d theta dt equal to omega t. The rate of change of the phase difference is constant, and this constant is the difference in frequencies. And you solve this equation, you will get theta equal to omega t. And now you can immediately identify, so what is the phase difference? Phase difference grows linearly with time. So for maximum effect of superposition of simple harmonic motion, this phase difference has to be integral multiple of 2 pi, and hence Tn equal to 2 pi n. So the time interval between two maxima will be 2 pi by W, and this W is the frequency difference. And we have derived this to explain the bits in acoustics. So, but this calculation is very simple. And now imagine this pictorial. Suppose two persons are rotating with different angular speed, and they are talking to each other. And when these 2 points meet, they will be able to hear each other. And when they will be in a phase difference of pi, they will be in the diametrically opposite corner, they will not hear each other. So this is the simple explanation of bits studied in acoustics. And it is very simple to derive. Now the question is, in which cases only the phase is important in periodic motion? So not always you will be able to use the dynamics of the phases. So I will give you some examples of non-uniform oscillators, and where you will find the synchronization. Synchronization means harmonic motions. The phases of all oscillators will be identical, and they will vibrate in a harmonic fashion. So in physics, the example is synchronization in power grid, and that is the challenging task of the electrical engineer, the phase synchronization of the power grid. So in power grid, each node of the grid will start with different phase, and in the due course of time, they will achieve the synchronization. All will move with the same phase, and in that case, the power grid will act with maximum efficiency. So this is an example. Another example is the biology observed in biology, which is called flashing of fireflies. In the night, we see the flashing of fireflies. Initially, each firefly has different random phases, so that will not give you the flashing in unison. But as time grows, each firefly will follow the phase of another firefly, and at a particular time, their flashing will be synchronized, and you will find beautiful things. So there is a movie by Attenborough, I think Beauty of Life, I can't recall now. Here you will find the flashing, synchronized flashing of fireflies. And another example in performing arts, the ballet or the music concert, etc. In a group dance, initially at t equal to 0, each dancer has different phase. And as time grows, they dance in a synchronized fashion. In that case, each dancer follows the phase of another dancer. And just by following this, they will achieve the synchronization. synchronization, and that is the beauty of the dance, of course. And now the question is how this synchronization process occurs. So this synchronization cannot be obtained if you use the actual motion or actual vibration, actual sine function, actual cosine function, and add all these, etc. In that case, you have to consider the phase, motion of the phase, dynamics of the phase of each oscillator individually. So in that case, in biology, Unwound and Armentrout and Ringel in 1984 proposed a model. This model is given in equation number 15, d theta dt equal to omega plus a sine phi minus theta. And here you will find a nonlinear term. Apart from this term, a sine omega, a sine phi minus theta, this is the equation of the uniform oscillator, as I discussed in previous slides. So you add an additional term with the uniform oscillator, a sine phi minus theta, that will give you the beautiful thing, that will be able to explain the synchronization of fireflies. Not only the synchronization, phase locking can also be explained. Phase locking means there is a constant phase difference between two oscillators. They are not in phase, but they maintain a constant phase difference. And a phase walking, that is a very interesting thing, phase walking. The phase difference grows linearly with time, with small velocity. So phase difference grows linearly with time is called the phase walking. And by this way, the entrainment of the firefly by periodic flashing of laser torch was possible by Hanson. It was an experiment, and in that case, Hanson showed that the firefly can follow the frequency or the phase of the laser torch. So they can be trained. They can be trained, and Hanson determined a interval of the frequency range within which the training is possible. And out of this frequency range, these fireflies cannot be trained. And this fireflies has a specific name. I think biologists can verify. It is called Pteroptyx malachi, a special kind of fireflies. And the next question is, what will be the physicist's way of looking to model all such phenomena? And there is a model. It is called Kuramoto model. It is a very recent model proposed in this millennium. And it was based on the Ringel model. So it is a model of large number of coupled phase oscillators. So each oscillator follows the dynamical equation like this, equation number 16. It is d theta I dt. D theta I is actually the phase of the ith oscillator. Omega I is the frequency of the ith oscillator, and a summation term. That summation term gives you the interaction between two oscillators, or the coupling between two oscillators, and Kij is the coupling term. And this equation gives you fantastic results. Kuramoto showed in his classic paper that you have different phases of oscillators. One phase, depending on the coupling strength, frequency, etc., one phase is the random phase. The oscillators will never be synchronized. And another phase is the perfectly synchronized phase. All oscillators will achieve the same phase. So that is a perfectly synchronized phase. And Kuramoto discovered two additional phases, which is called chimera phase and multi-chimera phase. Chimera phase is the phase of partial synchronization. For example, you have 100 number of oscillators, out of which in middle you will find 30 oscillators are in phase, and apart from that, all other 70 numbers of oscillators are oscillating randomly with random phase. This is called a chimera phase. And multi-chimera, you will find such number of clustered partially synchronized oscillators. So these are called multi-chimera phase. And very recently, we have also studied this. Myself, with my student Amitava Banerjee, I have studied with 100 number of coupled oscillators and determined and find the chimera and multi-chimera and the synchronized states. And our basic target was whether this phase will be observed if you apply the time-dependent connectivity. Time-dependent connectivity means if the connectivity is very strong, then the common sense tells you will find the synchronized phase. But question is, if the connectivity is very weak and the connectivity is changing in time, it oscillates in time, will you get the chimera, multi-chimera and synchronized phase? And the answer is yes. We have found all phases and we have published our result in Physical Review in 2016 in this case. And this Amitava Banerjee is an undergraduate student. It was his undergraduate project. So this is a beautiful thing which was done by the simple differential equation, coupled phase differential equation. And for interested readers, I can suggest two references. One is Stephen Strogatz, The Nonlinear Dynamics and Chaos, and another book that is a book by mathematician and biologist. It is called J.D. Murray. The name of the book is Mathematical Biology. It is a fantastic book, and you will find this flashing of fireflies and the synchronization by this Armentrout and Rinzel model in this book. And I can give you two more examples of dynamics very briefly. One is Ising model. The Ising model was historically proposed to explain the ferromagnetism. Ising was Lenge's PhD student, and Lenge asked him to propose a model and to solve it to explain the ferromagnetism. That means the long-range magnetic ordering below a critical temperature. But Ising proposed the model in one dimension and he failed. But after that, Onsager solved this model in 2 dimensions and succeeded. But that is the history. And the main point is the original model was proposed to explain the ferromagnetism, but the physicists thought differently, and they used this model widely in protein chemistry. In protein chemistry, the helix coil transition can be explained by Glauber dynamics in Ising model. In metallurgy, the chemists use they use the Kawasaki dynamics, a different kind of dynamics in Ising model, and neural networks, brain research, and opinion dynamics in sociophysics. And that is a very interesting idea. Ising model is a well-known model. It is a model of alternative spins having value either plus half or minus half, plus half h cut and minus half h cut. And this is used to explain the ferromagnetism. So interaction between two spins are ferromagnetic interaction. That means each spin will try to align its neighboring spins in its direction. So suppose a spin is up and another neighboring spin is down. So if the interaction is ferromagnetic, the minimization of the free energy will lead the system towards the ferromagnetic ordering. That means the down spin will be up. So in this case, this model was proposed to explain the ferromagnetism. But recently, very recently, Stauffer model and Galam model, they are using the opinion dynamics in sociophysics. In society, we have different opinions. Suppose I support a political party and you support another party. And even in a discussion meeting. So how do you reach the consensus? So it has a special dynamics. Suppose I have an opinion represented by the down spin, and you have another opinion represented by the up spin, and we have the interaction between us, and that interaction is ferromagnetic interaction. And if we know the interaction, nature of the interaction and dynamics, In that case, you will be able to predict whether the consensus will be reached or there will be no consensus. There is a stalemate situation. So that is the beauty of the model. And the idea behind this is, if we do not look differently, we will not be able to use this model or able to utilize that model in different field of science. Another example is concept of entropy. That was historically came from the reversible engine, Carnot engine. Soddy Carnot was an engineer, and he devised a theoretical engine, and his conjecture was the change in entropy in a reversible process is zero. So we have in our degree course that Q1 by T1 minus Q2 by T2 equal to 0, and that is the change in entropy in a reversible cycle. So basically, you may think that entropy is a thermodynamic concept, but nowadays the concept of entropy is being used in the information theory. And this an article written by Deepak Dhar, TIFR, in Resonance 2010. The name of the article is Enigma of Entropy. The dynamics of production of entropy is important there. So you will find a beautiful example there. His example is, we always try to maximize the information. Suppose you go to restaurant and you are thinking that you will eat the hamburger, and you see the menu card, and in that restaurant you have a menu card having 10 number of items, and immediately if you know that there is a restaurant close to that restaurant having a menu card of 100 items, you will immediately go there. And I think it is observed in the shari house where the lady goes to purchase or goes to buy the shari. They always like to see large number of saris and select from there only one. So that is nothing but the maximization of information, and this is nothing but the maximization of entropy. So this is the dynamics which was written in Enigma of Entropy by Professor Deepak Dhar. This is a beautiful article, and it is an open access article. You can download it from the TIFR website, and please read it. So you will have some idea. So if we think differently, what could be done? So the idea of physics is widely used in different branches of science. The dynamics is not confined in classical dynamics only. And now I will give you another example just by telling you the story of Coast Guard and a drowning boy. And look at the picture. Again, the picture is very bad, my handwritten picture. So suppose there is a Coast Guard in the coastal region, and he is standing here, and he observed a boy is drowning into the water at point B here. So what will he do to save the girl, to save the child, to save the boy? Will he follow the direct path? This is the basic question. Please note that the velocity of this Coast Guard at land, on sand basically, the velocity is v1, and in water his velocity of swimming is v2. And this velocity is different. And in our common sense, the velocity v1 is larger than velocity v2. Velocity in land will be larger than velocity in water. So the question is, which path should be chosen? And in this diagram, the Coast Guard may choose different paths. This path, that path, any path. The basic thing is, he has to choose the fastest path, the path which will give him fastest arrival at sea to save the child. And this is the diagram. And suppose to choose the fastest path, what will happen? So this point on the x-axis, the point where the path bends, should be varied so that the time of arrival is minimum. So this is called fastest path. So from this diagram, you see that this length is L1, that length is L2, this is P1, this is P2, the angle is θ1, the angle is θ2, this is X and this is L minus X. And if you calculate the time, so this time will be T1 by V1, T2 by L2 by V1, L2 by L1 by V1 plus L2 by V2, and this, and with this minimization, the dx dt equal to 0, you will get this result, and this result can be written in the trigonometric form, that is sin θ1 by sin θ2 equal to V1 by V2. And this is well-known Snell's law in ray optics. Now recall your famous Fermat's principle, which was beautifully explained in the books Jenkins and White in ray optics. The Fermat principle states that the path chosen by the ray between 2 points is the path which can be traversed in least time. In ray optics, the sin θ1 by θ2 equal to V1 by V2, and this can be written as C by N1. N1 is the refractive index in medium 1, and N2 is the refractive index in medium 2. And finally, the conventional form of the Snell's law is this, obtained from the Fermat principle. And in our student life, we have a common belief that Fermat principle is related to the optics only, ray optics only. And this is not true. The Fermat principle is the principle of elementary dynamics. If any particle, if anybody wants to move from one point to another point, and he has to cross two different media with two different velocity, his path should not be straight line. He has to change the direction according to the Snell's law, and that is Fermat principle. So this is observed in optics, but in reality we do not think that phenomena is observed. If a person of disaster management team, if a person, suppose in a disaster management team, he has to save a drowning boy, has to travel in a different media, the effective path will not be straight. To minimize the path, to minimize the time, path should change its direction according to the Snell's law at the junction of the two media. And I think in society we do not see this. We do not see the intelligent person like this, and I think the photons are more intelligent than human mind. And now I think I have finished, and let me conclude with few remarks. So these are the take-home message to the audience. Physics is not limited by derivation, computation, data collection, experimental measurements only. Idea borrowed from physics can also be applied to explain many phenomena observed in different man-made branches. I call it man-made branches: biology, chemistry, music, art, etc. All these are basically philosophy. But man-made branches, biology is biology, chemistry is chemistry, but in nature. But the basic thing is, we have to think rationally to develop the theory or to study the experiment. And my last message to the dear students, apart from building career in physics, enjoy physics. Please try to see the nature through the looking glass of the rational mind, which is called physics. And thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your beautiful lecture. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I really don't know why many applicants are unable to join the webinar through Google Meet. Really, I don't know. Sorry. I am sorry for the technical problem, and I think participants who are unable to join in Google Meet, have watched the webinar through YouTube. Actually, YouTube link already provided in your email. So so really sorry, I don't know. Yeah, sir.
Nirmalendu, it is the question to the speaker?
No. This is, I really don't know what the technical problem is for which many are complaining that they are unable to join the Google Meet. Sorry, really sorry. I don't know why.
So now I am ready to take the questions from
yeah, let me check in the YouTube. Okay, let me check first YouTube where the live streaming was going on. Yeah, I think there is no question regarding the talk. I think so. I can't see any question in the YouTube. No, sir. There is no question. No,
so
no question in the YouTube. Okay, let me check.
There is no question. That means the presentation is very bad.
Maybe very good. So 50-50 chance. Okay, let me check in the Google Meet whether there is any question or not. I actually there are lots of messages. Okay, let me check from the first. I don't know why people are text like good afternoon, good evening. I don't know. I already requested all the participants to text only the question. I don't know. Okay, let me check. Sir, I can't see any question for you. Sudipto, is there any question? Sudipto?
Yes, there are questions. Some questions there are.
Oh, which
I see.
So you can ask
okay, the first question from the Google Meet is asked by Raima Shaha. What is sociophysics, sir?
Sociophysics is there are some social phenomena. For example, the election, opinion formation, the wealth, growth of wealth from rich people to the poor people, the flows of money. So this can be explained from the physical laws. If you see the econophysics, you can explain the distribution of wealth from the Maxwell distribution, which was briefly mentioned in the book, old book by Shaha Srivastava, and he introduced the explanation. And in opinion dynamics, in other cases, for example, in prisons, the criminals, how do they treat? So that can be their psychology, their dynamics, that can be done, that can be understood from the physical models. So these are the sociophysics. It is a different branch of physics. If you open any journal, Physical Review E, that is the Journal of American Physical Society, you will find a branch of sociophysics. For example, the statistical physics, nonlinear physics, you will find a branch of sociophysics also.
Okay, thank you, sir. Nirmalenda, are you seeing many more questions?
Yeah, the next question asked by Akash Nundi. Sir, what was the potential barrier?
Oh,
what was that potential barrier?
Which potential barrier?
That I don't know.
So
it is written.
That is the classical idea. Suppose you are moving with a speed and you have a kinetic energy, and immediately you find a potential barrier in front of you. Having height of that potential barrier is higher than your kinetic energy. So according to classical idea, will you be able to penetrate that potential barrier? The answer is no. But the answer is yes in quantum mechanics with finite probability, and that is called tunneling.
Yeah. Another question from Premasis Das. In synchronization of flashing of fire files, how phase walking change?
Sorry?
in synchron. Actually, you can also see the questions in the text. Yeah. Go to the okay. Can you see? The question is, in synchronization of flashing of fireflies, how phase walking change?
No, if the synchronization, in the case of synchronization of fireflies,
Yes.
you will not find phase walking. You will not find phase walking. Phase walking is possible in the entrainment process, entrainment of the fireflies by the laser torch, periodic flashing of laser torch. Whether the firefly will be able to follow the periodic flashing or not. If it can follow 100%, that is called phase matching, perfect synchronization. If it cannot follow, but there is a constant phase difference between the periodic flashing of the laser torch and the flashing, natural flashing of the fireflies, that is called phase locking. That is the constant phase difference. And if the phase difference grows linearly with time, phase difference of the flashing of the firefly and the flashing of the laser torch. So that phase difference grows linearly. That is called phase walking.
Okay.
I found a question. What is called Hawking radiation?
Okay.
So I am not an astrophysicist, so I can give you a brief idea. According to the old knowledge, the black hole cannot radiate. Black hole cannot radiate, and Hawking has a separate view that radiation can come out through black hole. So it is called Hawking radiation. I do not know anything more than that.
Okay. Next question is from Riddhiman Sarkar. Sir, can you please say about multi-cinema again?
Multi-chimera, yes.
Multi-chimera.
Yeah. Yes. Suppose you have 100 number of oscillators, and in synchronization, you will get all oscillators move synchronized in a synchronized fashion, and all oscillators are in the same phase. In the chimera phase, you will find in the middle range, roughly say 30 or 20 number of oscillators are in phase. They are moved in synchronized fashion. But rest 70 number of oscillators in the right side 35 and in the left side 35, they move random. So it is called partial synchronization with a single chimera. And if you find large number of chimera in a array of oscillators, for example, a chimera formed by the 10 oscillators, first 10 oscillators in a single chimera, then next 10 oscillators in random phase, then next 10 oscillators in a single chimera, and then next 20 oscillators in a random phase. So the clusters of partially synchronized oscillators will give you the concept of multi-chimera phase.
Okay. Amit Kumar Bhunia. Sir, how can I apply Ising model in molecular sequence?
Yes, in molecular sequence in protein chemistry, Ising model is applied. That is very tricky. Even in protein folding, the Ising model can be applied. And I can refer you some review article. Right now, I cannot recall a review written by Professor Soumen Bhattacharya. Currently, he is now in Ashoka University. He was Institute of Physics, Bhubaneswar.
Yeah.
His review article, in Review of Modern Physics, you will find how this Ising model can be applied there.
Yeah.
Remember, one question is missed or skipped. Question is from Anirban Mukherjee. How Fermat principle is philosophically verified?
Yeah. yes, I missed it. Yeah,
Fermat principle is philosophically verified.
Philosophically verified.
Okay.
Yes.
So imagine a person is rushing to reach a point on the high road, and that point is that he has to cross the high road and then he has to cross a wetland. Okay. So in the high road, his velocity is given, and certainly in the wetland, his velocity will be less than that in the highway. So what path will he follow? What path should he follow? It is the direct path from his position to the target position, or he should bend his path at the junction of high road and the wetland. The Fermat principle will give you the answer. He should change his direction according to the Snell's law.
Okay.
But we do not find this in reality. Even the auto driver in Kolkata do not use this idea. Anyway.
Yeah. One question from Akash Nundi. Sir, how do that potential barriers arise there?
Well, I think that was a question earlier.
Yeah, maybe.
Potential barrier is a barrier which will try to stop the motion of the particle. If you study the scattering problem classically or quantum mechanically, I think you have encountered many examples of potential barrier. In quantum mechanics also you have seen the potential barrier, but that barrier can be penetrated by the quantum particles even if the kinetic energy of the particle is less than the height of the barrier. But classically it was not possible. But if you use the classical electrodynamics and if you use the Abraham-Lorentz formula, a charged particle can penetrate a potential barrier with less kinetic energy. So it has a finite probability, even classically, to penetrate the barrier. You please read that article by Denef, written in Physical Review 56, 1997.
Question from Subhankar Das. Sir, what is biophysics?
What is?
Biophysics.
What is biophysics? In a branch of physics, yeah, where we use the idea of physics. For example, the idea of fluid motion applied in human body or in the plant physiology. So this is biophysics.
There are one question from YouTube.
Okay, let me finish Google Meet questions.
Okay.
Shundipan Sarkar, sir, biophysics explanation with example and interrelationship with physics. Biophysics explanation with example and interrelationship with physics.
That is a different story. For example, I can give you an idea of outbreak in the pandemic situation. In Canada, in a forest, there was an insect outbreak, and due to that outbreak, the entire forest was lost by the insects. And this was not possible to explain by the biologists, by the botanists, and the mathematician and the physicists explained this from the idea of saddle note kind of bifurcation. So this is one example. The flashing of firefly is another example. There are so many. There are another model which is called Selkov model, and we all know that the normal human body, no diabetic problem, there is a cyclic process of F6 and adenosine diphosphate. So that cycle was explained by Selkov. Selkov was a mathematician and physics background. You just type Selkov model of glycolysis in Google and you will find.
So simple Brownian motion can also be applied in the biological system.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's a biophysics. Yeah.
Yes, Robert Brown was a botanist. and the Brownian
Yeah,
motion
the
explained by
simplest
that is-
example.
Thank you, Nirmal. That is a simple example.
Yeah, a question from Riddhiman Sarkar. Sir, can we use Ising model to depict the hyperfine structure for hydrogen atom? Ising model to depict hyperfine structure of hydrogen atom.
How? I think the spectroscopy and the quantum mechanics are sufficient to explain these phenomena, even the relativistic quantum mechanics, the Dirac equation. Ising model is not necessary there.
Sir, this is, I think this is suggestion. Sir, it will be better if we apply physics in our daily life. Such types need to study in. This is some suggestion, I think. Okay, next question is from Anirban Mukherjee. How we can visualize Fermat principle? The same question, I think. Fermat principle philosophically. Is it same question, right?
It is the same question.
Yeah, I think the answer
Yes, yes.
already given. Can we predict from Samuel Bhar? Question from Samuel Bhar. Can we predict the persistence of a political party using opinion dynamics?
Yes, there are some papers by Parangama Sen
Yeah,
of
interesting
Calcutta
question.
University.
Yeah.
He has written several papers in physical reviewing, and she applied the model of opinion dynamics and compared the data with the Brexit
Okay.
poll in Britain.
Britain, not in India.
No, not in India. In India, it is very difficult.
Yes.
So in India, you have many parameters such as reading
Biasness.
and murder and many things.
Okay. Okay.
Withdrawal of nomination,
Yeah.
many things.
Okay. Next question from Ayush Sharma. Sir, how we use dynamics for prediction of, I think it is weather. Prediction of weather using dynamics for prediction of weather.
Yes, it is very difficult, but as atmospheric scientists, they are also doing this. In Stroger's in nonlinear dynamics, you will find a very nice example.
Yeah.
It is called butterfly effect.
Yes. Slightly change and yeah.
Please go through that effect.
You already answered the question of Hawking's radiation, so I can skip it. Next question from Aniruddha Laha. What is the difference between classical and quantum idea about this concept tunneling?
Classical and quantum idea. No, classical Newtonian dynamics will not give you the
tunneling.
Tunneling.
Only quantum
And
idea.
quantum idea will give you the tunneling.
Yes.
In fact, the alpha particle, decay of the alpha particle is the example, physical example of the alpha of the tunneling. And in classical physics, the Abraham-Lorentz equation can give you the quantum tunnel, can give you the classical tunneling, and that was experimentally verified in plasma physics.
There is a question from Subhala. So, what is theoretical physics?
What is theoretical physics?
I think so.
Theoretical physics is you just employ your mathematical tools and logic to explain the natural phenomena observed in life.
Okay. What is the classical approach? What is the one question from Tathagato Bhattacharya. What is the classical approach potential barrier problem?
Sorry, could you repeat?
What is the classical approach potential barrier problem?
What is the classical approach of potential barrier problem?
Like that. It is not complex.
Yes, yes. You just use the Abraham-Lorentz equation, put a charged particle following the Abraham-Lorentz equation, and in front of that particle put a potential barrier having height which is greater than the initial kinetic energy of the particle, and see what happens. Actually, that was done in that paper of Bennett, Physical Review, 1997.
Next question is from Subhalas. The relation between topology and physics.
relation between topology and physics? I do not know. I cannot give you the answer.
From Tathagata Bhattacharya, is there any approach in Ramseur-Townsend effect in classical physics?
No, Ramseur-Townsend effect observed in quantum physics, the scattering by the inert gas, and that cannot be observed in classical mechanics. But I do not know if you use the Abraham-Lorentz kind of equation, what happens? I do not know.
Okay. And the last question in the Google Meet is, what is the atomic habit and how this works in our life?
Sorry?
What is atomic habit?
Atomic?
Habit. I don't know. Habit, H-A-B-I-T.
Sorry, I do not know.
And how this works in our life? This is question from Firoz Ahmed Gain.
No, I do not know.
Another question just came. From Kinjal Vishwas, how this is, I think it is fluid. How fluid dynamics activity in geographical study is related with physics. Fluid dynamics in how fluid dynamics activity in geographical study is related. I think it will be related with physics.
No, fluid dynamics can be applied. You can apply the Navier-Stokes equation to study the motion of rivers. In fact, river research is a very important area of science, and they apply the Navier-Stokes equation to study the motion of river, dynamics of river.
Okay, next question from YouTube Live. The first question is, how classical dynamics varies from quantum aspect?
It's a very simple to answer. Since the equation is different, in classical dynamics you use the Newton's equation, and in quantum dynamics primarily you use the Schrodinger equation. And since the equations are different, we will get different results.
Yeah, I think the answer of this question already given. The question is from Sadhin Kumar Jena. Classical tunneling and quantum tunneling, what are the difference between these two? I think you already answered.
Right? This question has been answered.
From Gautam Vishwas, what is the mathematical modeling in biology?
There are various mathematical modeling in biology. Selkov model is an example of mathematical modeling in biology. Just type in Google Selkov model of glycolysis. You will find the differential equations of the nonlinear coupled differential equation, which will give you the idea of limit cycle.
What is next question from Animes Songkhonidhi? What is the physical significance of Fermat's principle?
Physical
significance of Fermat's principle.
Physical significance of Fermat's principle is this: if there is change in velocity, to minimize the time, you have to change the direction. In short, precisely.
Yeah. Another question from Sushri Swamproda. What is the quantum tunneling, and can it will be applicable for future reference? This is the last question in YouTube.
Quantum tunneling can be found in any standard textbook of quantum mechanics, even in undergraduate level. The quantum particle with less kinetic energy can penetrate a potential barrier of height higher than this kinetic energy. But it has the finite probability of transmission. So this is called quantum tunnel.
Yeah. And I also informed the participant that if they have any question, they can ask Professor Acharya by writing email to him. And email ID is given in the presidency website. So you can do that. And few participants already asked me, actually, this is my question, to me I think question is, yeah, The whole webinar is already recorded, and you can get it in the YouTube for if you want to watch it again. So there is no problem. You can get it in the YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we will upload it soon. And
Okay.
currently you can also watch it because it is live streaming, so no problem. And again, I am really sorry. Actually, I don't know what happened to the participant who are unable to join the meeting. I don't know what happened. Maybe it is a technical problem. Okay, so thank you, Chef. Yeah.
I think this is not a problem. This is just laws of nature.
Thank you, sir, for your beautiful lecture. Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
Thank you.
And we want to inform all the participants that a link of the feedback form will be sent to your registered email address today. We are requesting all of you to submit your feedback regarding today's webinar, and after the submission of your valuable feedback, you will receive your e-certificate of participation through email. Thanks to all of you for your active participation in the webinar. Without you, it would not be possible to organize such a webinar. Hope that all of you enjoyed the seminar and enriched yourself. We have a plan to organize more webinars like this, and I promise that we will definitely inform you if we are able to do so in future. In near future. I want to thank Professor Acharya for his splendid lecture, and we are grateful that he has accepted our request and agreed to deliver a lecture. I also want to thank our principal sir and coordinator IQAC for their active support. Last but not least, I want to thank all of my colleagues for their continuous help and cooperation. Thank you and goodbye. See you soon.